welcome to the Tawnya Love Show. It is, I don't even know the date. I was going to say the date for some reason, but anyways, I think it's like April 3rd. but
That's what it is.
Okay, good. Thank you guys for joining us today. And this past weekend, I actually had a pretty cool experience. I was kind of telling Amnon before um, that will tap into our topic today. And what I'm feeling the topic is going to be is yesterday I was driving after my amazing experience speaking at the Portland Women's Expo. And when we were driving back, I just felt Spirit tell me the topic today. And it was, oh, what a feeling is our topic. And what I'm going to talk about is the importance of not just thinking about what we want to manifest when we have goals as creators. We want to manifest our dreams and our goals, but we got to get into the feeling of that. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. But on that note, it was a little less than a year ago. Actually, no, a little more than a year ago. It was like, I want to say it was like April 19th or something. Um, I went to the Portland Convention Center, not the expo, but the Portland Convention Center, and I saw Dr. Wayne Dyer speaking, and it was amazing. I spent the whole day in a seminar with him. And as everyone knows, not many months later, he passed away. But I was so grateful for that moment and that experience to be in his presence. And when I was in the audience, I was just enjoying everything he was saying and just the whole experience. But also in my heart, as a light worker and a speaker, a teacher, I was just like, one day I'm going to be up there. One day I'm going to be at this convention center and I'm going to be leading seminars and helping inspire the world and changing the world in a better way. And I just felt that and just put it out there. And then when I was actually driving to the Portland Convention Center yesterday, I just thought of that and I was like, oh my God, I actually called this forth like a little, it was like a little less than a year later that I actually was going to the convention center to speak. So I felt like yesterday was really an amazing moment for my life. And it was, nothing mind blowing or whatever, but it was just really exciting that I had focused on a goal that I wanted to bring forth. And then the opportunity came and I stepped in. And sometimes, like, when we have a goal like that, there can be a lot of things that can come up to try to distract us. Our ego can come in and try to mess with us and get us to be afraid, like, oh, what if you're not ready? Or, what if no one wants to hear what you have to say? And it can really get us going if we allow it to. And I felt like I was pretty calm, but just like a day or two before the speaking event, sorry, I have pollen in my eye. I was just telling Amnon, I went on a walk and there's just pollen everywhere. It's so beautiful here, but lots of pollen. Um, but I feel like, we can get so much excitement for a goal, but then if our egos come in, it can totally derail us if we allow it to. And I felt like a couple days before, I just was conscious of a little bit of a nervous feeling inside. And I was just conscious of talking to my inner child and like, hey, it's okay. It's going to be fun. Like, we don't need to worry. Everything's going to be good. But it's good to tune into that in ourselves because sometimes we're just trying to we get angry at ourselves and like, oh, I shouldn't be nervous, or we really feed the nervous energy and then it grows and then it feels like it's going to take us over. And so I feel like it's very human, a human part of our experience to feel a feeling of nervousness or a little tremor before we step into a new experience or a new space. Years ago, I had these Osho cards, and one of the cards was really cool. It had a lotus leaf, and I don't remember exactly the way it was spoken on the card, but it said something to the effect of, it had a picture of a leaf with a water droplet about to fall into the pond below, and it said, even the droplet on the leaf trembles before it surrenders to the unknown. And I feel like that is such a great, analogy of how life is, that even if we're really confident, if we're comfortable, if we love ourselves, if we're doing our work, we're staying in our alignment, and then we're going towards new goals, it's very normal and natural to have that little tremble, that trembling feeling, or that little quiver of energy shake through us right before we surrender into a new role. And so moving into new territory can feel sometimes a little scary, but it's so important for our expansion. And we have to get comfortable, I feel, being uncomfortable, we have to get comfortable with that feeling of expansion, because that's going into places we don't know. So it feels a little uncomfortable to us, or, we don't know the experience, but that's where we're going to grow. So it's so important that we do that. But on that note, what I was feeling is important part that I want to share with each of you listening as manifestors, every one of us, all of you watching today, whoever's out there. And by the way, if you want to log in, go and type your name or nickname in the chat. And then if you want to call in, 919-518-9773. And I will chat with you live if you have a question or you want to share something that's helped you with manifesting. But basically, what I want to talk about today, because we've had shows in the past about, manifesting our goals, dreams, and desires. But today, I want to just focus on one of the most important ingredients to the recipe of manifestation that I feel like some people miss, or they just aren't aware of where their focus is at. So when we get into the recipe of creation, first of all, we know that we have a thought come in, and we either hold that thought or we don't. So we either stay with a thought that comes in from our ego, it could be fearful, and we put energy into it and it grows, or that fearful thought could come in and then we consciously catch that and we decide to go into a higher thought or a more expansive thought. So let's say we got this feeling of, oh God, I don't know if I'm ready, comes in, and then a higher thought is, we are totally ready. We are capable. We can do this. This is going to be awesome. So we start to give our attention to that thought, to that higher consciousness. And that is going to start to create a shift in our energy field. It's going to create a shift in how we're going to speak and how we're going to connect with people in what we're creating. So a big part that I feel a lot of people are missing, because I watch people all the time, I'm always observing, and I observe my own life where I slip and where I strengthen. And that's why I love this internet show, because I can speak this stuff to all of you out there that are listening, and any of you who are open and receptive, it can really powerfully benefit your life if you're open to it. And if you're not, oh well. So basically, when we get into the recipe of creation, there's the thought process of, let's say I want to go to Hawaii. So if that's my goal, I would love to have a healing retreat in Hawaii is the goal. So I'm going to focus on that thought. And then in meditation, in the conscious creation part of my meditation, every day, even if I'm in Nebraska and it's 20 below zero, it doesn't matter. You want to hold your thought on where you're going, and you want to get your vibe to match being there. Not that someday you hope it'll come or someday you'll connect with it, because that's keeping that sense of separation. So if we're here in Nebraska, it's cold and freezing, but we want to be in Hawaii, and we're talking about the lack of, the warmth, and we're complaining and we're focusing on how much money it'll cost and that we'll probably never get there, but we really wish we could go, and hopefully one day I can go. Most humans do that with a lot of their goals. They put their energy in all these random places and they don't laser beam focus it in a direction to actually hold that frequency long enough to start magnetically drawing the experience into this holographic reality. So in a sense, if we're holding that frequency long enough, even if I'm in Nebraska, 20 below, I am on the way to Hawaii, because energetically I step in and I'm in the vibration of being in Hawaii now. So everything in my energy field is in Hawaii. I'm manifesting in my thoughts, and I'm feeling in my emotional body the feelings of being in that space right now. So when I hold that often enough, and there's no rule about this. Some people, you might be vibing on it for like 6 weeks, and then an opportunity comes. Someone says, hey, you want to go with me to Hawaii? And you're like, seriously? And some people would go, and some people will make an excuse and go, oh, I can't have it. And they'll push it away from themselves again. And I watch this all the time with humans. So a lot of what we need to do, I feel, at the deepest level to manifest our goals and dreams, which is what I was talking about at the Women's Expo yesterday, was that we have to come to that place where we're clearing the ego chatter and we're healing the inner child, and we're coming to a place of self-love. And we talk about that on the show all the time. So as an intuitive healer, when I'm offering angelic auric clearings, these clearings are powerful energetic clearings that are helping to clear and rid the energy field of all this disruptive energy, disruptive belief systems, just looping old thoughts that keep you stuck and low and heavy, and basically manifesting what you're used to, which is not what you want. So the auric clearings that I'm assisting with are powerful in helping with that. Continuously practicing meditation is going to help you in huge ways. So if you're a person that's like, oh, I'm too busy, I don't have time for meditation, I'm going to really challenge you to see that you can go ahead and keep on being really busy and too busy to calm the mind chatter, and you will continue to create chaos in your life. Absolutely. Or you can realize that if I were to try that, and just to, when I'm feeling overwhelmed, when my mind's racing, if I could just come in and start practicing something like a meditation CD, or I'm just going to go take a yoga class, or I'm going to go on a walk, whatever it is that helps to calm the mind chatter, helps me come back to my place of ease, I'm honoring that divine feminine energy. So when I'm honoring the divine feminine energy of receptivity and beingness, stillness, I actually am a powerful creator in that space of stillness to start focusing on what I want to draw into my field. And then I just need to hold my feeling in that frequency of being with it. And as I do that long enough, as I'm in that space of being one with the creation, it's coming to me. So then I just have to, as a creator, keep my eyes open when I'm out in my day for synchronicity, for opportunity, doors that open, humans that just connect with me at the right time, because these are humans and these are experiences I've drawn into my field because I've been in a space of being with that creation, one with my goal, dream, or desire. So a human that thinks that they have no time to be and to practice stillness and to focus their mind consciously is an insane human. It's a human that has completely lost themselves and identified in their ego, so that they believe that the more they spin on that hamster wheel of life, the busier they are, that eventually it's going to work out for them. Eventually they'll get to that destination. Eventually they'll conquer whatever they need to conquer, but they're always exhausted. They never really seem at ease or at peace. They're never present with the people around them or with themselves. And it's insanity. And yes, they can accomplish things, they can make things happen, but it's not coming in a way that could be more powerful or more exciting, more purposeful, more peaceful. So we're all creating, first of all, if we're just really clear with that. Every one of us is creating right now with our thoughts, with our vibration. The difference in a conscious creator and an unconscious creator is just that one's very conscious of what they're bringing forth and the other is not. And so we're all playing the game. What I would like to help encourage each of you is to see that there is a great power in being conscious of what you're creating. There's a great power and efficiency in being mindful of your creations and balancing your masculine and feminine energies so that you're not exhausted, overworking, overgiving, overdoing at the cost of self, to where then you're sick. Now you're off the game, you're off the wheel, but you're on your back trying just to live because of how far you've pushed yourself out of alignment. So when we get into that feeling space, what I see a lot of humans doing is something will come into their movie, their experience, and it'll trigger them. So let's say, you're a person that's just minding your business, you're happy, everything's working out in your life, and then someone comes along and they trigger you with a fear, like, oh my God, things are going bad in my life and it might affect your life, and we aren't conscious, then we will get triggered by that and we will go spiraling with them. It's like a little tornado. We get caught up in it with them, and we're flying around the outside of the tornado with all the, shrapnel, and it's just really not fun. It's chaos, and it feels really unsettling, unpeaceful, and chaotic. That's when we allow someone externally to trigger us into forgetting that we're one with source. So when someone comes along and they trigger us and we remember we are one with source, we can observe their chaos and go, wow, you seem to really be in a state of chaos. And now you're trying to actually project that upon me and try to get me to be afraid because you're afraid. But if I'm conscious, I'm going to observe that in you. And if you're open and receptive, I will guide you to get back into your alignment, get back into your vortex of creation. And remember to calm your energy down. Remember to quiet the mind. And remember to focus on being one with what you desire rather than what you're afraid of. So that's a choice. And if that person doesn't seem open to that, we just get away from them and we go right back into our own stillness, and come back into vibing our own feeling of what we desire. So let's say someone's like, I'm not going to be able to pay you rent, Tawnya, and you're going to have to figure it out. And I could be like, what? Like, that's going to really affect my world. And these are things that have happened to me, and I could be really freaked out by it. Or I could go, well, I'm going to encourage you to focus on what you can do to empower your situation, empower your situation so that you can do what you need to do. You can, meet your needs and your goals and be accountable, and you can be responsible, or you can ignore that and then you're going to have to leave my movie because I'm not going to let this continue. And then I'm going to pull back as soon as they're doing that, and I'm going to focus on solution. And this is the only thing I think that's different about myself compared to a lot of people I see that struggle, is that something will come into their movie and it will trigger them, but they go right into fueling it and getting in the emotion of the problem, the emotion of the drama, the emotion of not having what they need. And instead, there's a solution direction where we pull away from that fear and we go inside and we thank our highest guides, our angels, the universe, whatever you connect with, source God, and we say, thank you for the perfect solution. I know there is a perfect solution for this, and I am open and I am receptive to receiving it. Thank you for bringing in extra abundance because I love the feeling of having more abundance. I love the feeling of having more healing clients come in that I can help them, and then they also support my life as I manifest abundance as a healer. So instead of going into lack and fear, which will just then create that, we want to pull back into remembering we're a conscious creator and that we are in charge of what we focus on always. Now, a lot of us will say, oh, well, they said that and they didn't do this, and so that's why my life is hell. No, actually, those humans are just in their chaos and they're like flying by in your universe, and you either grab onto their chaos and fly with them, or you observe their chaos as you stay centered in your own alignment. That is really the choice. So it takes constant awareness. None of us can be lazy on this, because the moment that you kind of start to be lazy and slack on your awareness is when you start to unconsciously create. So it takes focus, and it's not necessarily hard. It just takes that focus. Once we've practiced that long enough, it becomes more natural. So it doesn't even feel as much like work. But in the beginning, when we're so used to creating unconsciously, it feels like a lot of work because we're shifting our focal point, and it takes awareness and constant realignment with the correct focal point, and that feels like work. So I'm going to pause for a second and just see if anybody's got any questions or comments about what I'm saying, or even any feedback, like times that they've really focused on what I'm talking about, getting into the feeling of having their desire compared to when they're focused on having a feeling of the lack or the feeling of fear and terror, and how that manifested for them. So is there any comments or anything, Amnon, coming in?
Not yet.
Okay, let me get a sip. All right, so getting back into that feeling, the feeling space is so important. So if I'm in a space where let's say I would love to have extra financial abundance coming in, because for a lot of you it's about money and you get kind of freaked out about money. So let's say we're really wanting some extra financial abundance, and right now we don't have very much extra. So that's our so-called reality at the moment, and it's very reflective of our past thinking. So our past thinking, most likely if we tune in, we were worrying, we were in a state of anxiety, panic, fear of lack. So unconsciously, we were creating an experience of lack. And we're amazing, powerful manifestors. Like, look what we've created with our powerful focal point. So if we can own that, we actually empower ourselves. The humans that can't even own that, they stay stuck, because then they can't handle that. They're like, no, I'm a victim. They made me this way. They want to point the finger. And you can do that, but it's never going to empower you, ever. So if your focus is pointing fingers on other people about your life, you are already way out of alignment. You have completely taken your mask off, and you are probably flailing around like a fish, and you're really uncomfortable. So if you can just own that right now and go, wow, yep, that's pretty much what I've been doing. Get your mask back on. That means step back into your alignment, into your vortex. That book I'm always talking to you guys about, Getting into the Vortex. If you haven't gotten it yet, totally going to encourage you to get that book again by Esther and Jerry Hicks, and get the one with the guided meditation CD, because that CD is going to help get your mind in alignment again, so that if you're stressing about money, or if you're stressing about your health or a relationship, rather than focusing on the problem, you're going to remember, okay, I need to go right back into that vortex of alignment and focus on the feeling of health and wholeness, the feeling of how it feels to be supported, how it feels to be strong, how it feels to thrive. So I'm going to get into that, and I'm going to start vibing that feeling. That feeling is going to actually help the cells of the body heal. It's going to speed up your healing process. And next thing you know, you're going to feel healthy again. And it'll just be like, whoa, I remember I wasn't feeling good, and suddenly I feel awesome. How'd that happen? And the same thing happens when we're feeling awesome and we start stressing. And in our mind, we're unconscious, but we're stressing, we're fearing, we're panicking, we're nitpicking, we're in anxiety. And the next thing, we've depleted ourselves and now we're sick. How did that happen? Do you see the shift? It's a subtle shift of frequency. So subtly, we're either shifting into more consciousness, we're consciously vibing what we want, or subtly, we're vibing away from what we want, and we create there too. So this is huge for you guys. And I don't know, like, you might have to watch this video like 10 times if you're not really getting it. If you're struggling with manifesting, this is what's happening at the deepest level for each of you. It is about what you're vibing on. So if we're thinking positive thoughts and positive affirmations, and maybe we're writing them in our journal, but our energy field, our vibe, our emotional body is vibing out a feeling of anxiety or lack, that's what you're creating. So the universe is very energetic and vibrational. So it's responding to our frequency, our energy. So if we're thinking good thoughts and we're telling people good things, but we're vibing fear and anxiety, we're attracting from that space. Now, if we get our power with our thinking and our spoken word into alignment with our feeling, we are freaking amazing manifestors, and shit comes to us so fast. And I'll tell you, I do this all the time. I recently had a little experience where I had actually unconsciously been giving energy to a problem, and I catch it and then I'm like, woo, I caught that. Let me use that and explain that to them, because we're all in a human experience. We have our moments where we're so tuned in and we're turned on and we're spot lined up with our source. And then we have times where we've lost that alignment slightly. So some situations in my world had come in where things had changed. I know some of you have been watching for a while, and you know that I separated from a partner in like September, and all that energy was kind of freaked out. It was freaky to me. And even though, yes, okay, this is happening, we're going to move through this, it created some anxiety. And I started to unconsciously be like, oh God, like there's going to be, all these bills and I need help. And then I would just remember to go in and ask my angels for assistance, support, and it would come, and I would always be grateful. But there was some things that shifted where I would have like yoga classes and things that used to be filled. I would have a full packed class. My workshops would be filled. I was drawing in a lot of abundance, and I was very happy. I wasn't even really thinking about it. I was just putting out opportunities, and people would show up that wanted to connect with me on that opportunity. They wanted to co-create with me. Well, there was this little phase that happened where no one's coming to yoga, and okay, one person came to yoga. I'm grateful for that, but where's everybody else? The workshops, okay, that one, no one showed up, but there's 4 people that said they were interested, or 8 people. Where'd they come? Where'd they go? Why didn't they come? So I started to unconsciously focus on, oh, what's going on? Is there a problem? Like, why is this not happening? And it was really affecting my manifesting of my goals. And it was very subtle. It was like there was a little tension. You got a little bit of a relationship breakup. And now all this stuff seems to be like connected. Like, oh God, am I being punished? We start going into that. And this is really important for each of us to grasp, because when stuff isn't going right, we start to get in our mind about, is there some punishment or is there a reason? And we start to get into the vibe of that. We don't mean to, but we actually are stepping on our hose of our oxygen, and we're struggling more and more because we're focused on that issue. So once I started to change my focal point to, you know what? I am just going to get back into my vibe and of being abundant. Like, I love how it feels when I got a filled class, when there's every single mat is taken and everyone's having a good time, they're changing their minds. I'm feeling like I have a fulfilling part in their life, and they're also supporting my goals and dreams as a healer. And this is how I manifest my abundance. So we're going to co create together. I started to get back into that feeling of having beautiful, loving, and generous souls around me. And I started to shift it, not just to have a full class, but to have humans there that actually had honor for me, that actually had respect and reverence, and that were generous, that wanted to give to me as much as they also wanted to receive from me. So it's more like this electrical circuit, or that infinity symbol, where there's a giving and a receiving flowing back and forth. I realized that was really important for me. So it would, I've had in the past where I could have a workshop and there's people there that are just wanting to take from me. They want to take what they can, and then they're out. And I started to realize that's not really what I want. And yes, I did fill up that workshop and that was awesome. But we start to get more and more focused on what it is we really want to create as creators. And for me, it was a lot more about the human connection and about that feeling of love and support that was, going back and forth. It was benefiting the whole, including myself. And that's a big part of, I feel like, what we're healing with our self-love shift that we're all moving through with this ascension, is coming to a place of self-love. We are really starting to look at how everything is affecting myself. Like, as individuals, if you're creating things and it feels terrible and you don't really feel like you're seen or honored, you might even hit your goals and you'll be getting money, but are you feeling the highest fulfillment that is possible with that creation? And so this is where we're evolving. So for me, I started to really vibe that feeling of people who love working with Tawnya Love, not the ones that are just like tolerating me, like, oh yeah, she's interesting sometimes, but let me heckle her a little bit. And I don't know. I don't really know if I agree with what she says. And so we could start to attract that energy. But as I was putting out the vibe of drawing into my field, loving, honoring humans who really want the tools that I have, they're ready, they're open, they're receptive, and they're also generous, supportive, and gracious, and they're grateful. That feels much better. So as I was holding that frequency for a while, and not even that long, I would say consciously I was doing that every day for about 4 or 5 days, and everything started to shift. I started to attract all these new healing clients. They're coming to sessions. They're so excited. They're like paying me cash over the amount I asked, like more than even my asking rate. Where before it's people are like, oh, your rates are kind of high. I don't know. Like they're penny pinching me. They're trying to make me feel guilty. That's what I was attracting. But this was all coming from what I felt I deserved. So if I felt I kind of deserved people to do that to me, or, oh, people are the old belief system in my head saying, you should just give it all away, Tawnya. You work for Source, you work for angels. Like, I've had people say that to me. Shouldn't you just do this for free? And I'm just like, what? Like, this is my gift from Source God. Just like Michael Jordan's gift is basketball. He wasn't playing that damn game for free. And so we got to start getting into that place where we realize we might have some old belief systems. And if those belief systems are kind of looping in our consciousness, we'll start attracting people in who will say that and project that to us so that we can clear it. They're going to come in to trigger us so that we will clear it from our energy field, and then we break free. We go into a higher expansive experience. So with that, when I started to focus on the feeling of having these experiences that I wanted and that I loved as if they were here now, I love that feeling. I love that vibe. I love when they come in and show this. I love when I'm helping them and they are so grateful. I love when I can manifest, and I would be very specific sometimes. I'd be like, I just love the feeling of manifesting $555 in one day. That feels really good. Like, I love that feeling of being empowered. I love that feeling of being a high paid light worker, like being well paid. I love that feeling. And boom, I was manifesting those goals, hitting those financial goals. People were coming to me. They're just finding me. Again, the synchronicity of the universe. All of a sudden, I'm in the right place at the right time. And I'm connecting with that exact human that's like yesterday at the expo, this woman that was in, listening to me speak. I could feel her and I connecting during the talk because Spirit just has a way of kind of guiding me towards different humans. And we make deeper eye contact. And afterwards, she met me in the hallway and we talked for probably another hour. And she was just like, she goes, when I came in, it was accidental. She didn't know anything about me speaking that day. She was just walking through and saw it on the board as they were leaving. And she was like, as soon as she connected with me, she was like, oh my God, I have been looking for you. I have been looking for you. You are my mentor. And I'm like, awesome, because I have been waiting for you too. And so, what's so fun and magical is that when we're in that right vibration, the people who actually really want to work with us, no matter what it is we're doing. For me, I'm a healer. I want to do public speaking events and writing a book. And these are my goals. These are what excite me, leading retreats for women. But for each of you listening, maybe it's, I just want my automotive shop to just be successful. I want happy customers. I want everything to run efficiently. I want employees that just treat me with respect and they have integrity. For others, it could be, I want to have my own pet walking business. I mean, it doesn't matter what the thing is that we're manifesting. It's that you focus on being in the feeling of having whatever you're wanting in your life right now. No longer waiting for the future, that some future date you could have it maybe if you're worthy. You already are worthy. Like, you are each worthy right now. But you have to do the clearing work, which is why my soul's here. If you invest in that and you do some work towards clearing your energy field of all the things that are disrupting you, all the things that are holding you back, that are pinching you off, and you sometimes might need a helper, you might need a guide or a mentor to help you with that. When you do that work, it's going to actually clear out all that distraction so that then you can tune in and get your vibe right. You can start feeling what you want and be one with it instead of focusing so much on what you don't like and vibing that, which is going to continue to create that feeling of lack and separation. So, from my perspective, this is like the most important work that we can do. If we want to be powerful creators and we want to enjoy what we're creating, we need to be conscious. And if we need help getting there, we need to honor that and stop procrastinating it, stop making excuses for it, and stop playing small, stop being victims. You can say you guys like that, but I know you don't. I know deep down it sucks and it never feels good when we're playing a victim. But the feeling, when we get into that feeling of being in our power, that feeling of empowerment, that feeling of expansion, that feeling of being honored, seen, and loved and supported, that feels good. Like, if you just, while I'm talking, just close your eyes and get into that feeling. Like, maybe today you're in a relationship where you're treated like a total doormat. Maybe nobody in your family or your circle of friends shows you honor or respect. That's your reality right now. And that's coming from your past thinking and your past vibes. But right now, you have an opportunity to shift that, take your power back, and get your vibration right. And you have the opportunity, like my life, to completely magically transform it in a way that you love, that has nothing to do with people around you. It has everything to do with what you feel about you and what you're focused on feeling every day when you're in creation, when you're in conscious creation meditation. So, whether we're meditating consciously or whether we're just unconsciously thinking all day, knowing right now that you are creating. So be mindful of what you're creating. And if you don't like your life, there's any part of your life you're not liking, you're not enjoying it, then you've got to come in and you've got to get into the feeling of a new experience. What would it feel like to live in that bigger, nicer house? What would it feel like to have that nicer boyfriend or girlfriend that actually treats you with honor and respect? What would it feel like to manifest more money doing what you love and being loved and respected and supported, having more than enough money to help pay for things that you want to do, and never feeling fearful anymore about lack? What would that feel like? And you want to get into that place of feeling it right now, every single day, coming back to it until you hold that frequency long enough, knowing that because you are and because you're a vibrational being, the energy you're focusing on is got to come. It is on its way. So you just have to be patient and persistent in what you're vibing. So I'm going to pause real quick, see if there's any questions or comments.
No.
No? Is anybody even chat logged in?
Wait a second. No, I shouldn't say no. Sandy's saying, Namaste, Tawnya.
Namaste.
Could you tell me again the guided meditation that you discussed, or post a link?
Is she talking about this one, the Getting into the Vortex? So if so, this is the book I was talking about. It's called Getting into the Vortex, and it has a guided meditation CD by Esther and Jerry Hicks. Totally recommend you get this book. Very simple read. I'm gonna actually read a page to you right now. And the way I use this book, like when I teach yoga or work with clients that I know that they're struggling with their health or with their finances or relationship, whatever, I'll just kind of be like, Source, what do you have for them? And I'll just open to a page. And that's what I did today. I just opened to a page and said, what do they need to hear today? So I'm going to read this. But I would encourage you to get this book and listen to the CD every day until you start to change your world around, because you're going to learn what I'm saying is truth by experiencing it. I could talk to you guys all day long, and if you just listen to me like, yeah, that sounds nice, and then you go right back to doing what you've been doing, it's not going to create much of a shift. But if you actually practice what I'm teaching you to practice, and you're diligent with it, you're focused, you're going to prove it to yourself. I can't prove this works to you. My life, I could tell you all kinds of stories that I'm doing, that I'm experiencing. But when you're going to really know it and it's going to connect, all the dots are going to connect, is when you experience it. And you're only going to be able to experience this by practicing and being focused, being diligent with it and persistent. Okay? So the page I opened up to, it says, this process of breathing and allowing makes it possible to get from wherever you are to wherever you desire. For as you breathe and release resistance, you tune your vibrational frequency to that of your source and to personal thriving. So this is just the simplicity of, like in yoga, when I'm helping the students just close their eyes, connect with their Ujjayi breath, they're just calming their energy field, they're connecting with the breath, quieting the mind chatter. To some, that would seem like, oh, that's boring. I got stuff to do. I'm telling you, it is so powerful. We, as a collective, we need to all start to honor the divine feminine energy just as much as we honor the masculine energy. There is neither of them are better or worse. It's like the yin yang symbol. One energy and the other energy are equally important in that balance. So the feminine energy is helping us to come into that place where we're allowing, we're receptive, we're still, we're quiet, and we're connected. We're releasing tension, we're releasing resistance. A lot of humans don't even realize how tense they are. They're walking through their life and their shoulders are up and they're just, teeth, jaws clenched, and they're tense. That is a sign that they are completely pinching off their source energy. But if they can go and take a yoga class, meditation class, listen to a CD, work with a healer, and start to create a sense of ease, they start to melt their energy. They start to calm down and let go, loosen up. It's kind of like pinching that garden hose, and we can't let anything come through. But when we relax, we let go and we let the flow happen. So then life is working through us and for us, instead of us grabbing at life and we're trying to control life and drag it around, or we feel like it's dragging us around. That's a sign that you are in resistance. And resistance, if it's held long enough, will start to create dis-ease in the body. And then the body will start to break down. The body will start to have problems. So things like arthritis, fibromyalgia, all these things that are from tension, this is stuff that we can heal, but we're never going to heal it by just continuing to complain about the pain and just numb the pain and keep overdoing an activity. That is never going to help us. We have to come into a place of ease, and we've got to honor the body and trust that that body is damn intelligent and it wants to heal. If we would just get our fist off the hose, if we would just let go and we would come back to ease again, our natural state is one of ease. We will allow the flow to move through us, and we're going to feel much better. We're going to heal faster, and we're going to start drawing in amazing supportive people and more money. Everything you want is going to come from that ease. So when people dishonor and think, oh, the feminine energy is weakness, to rest is weak, I feel guilty to rest, I'm like, what? Like, that is insanity. That's what we've been taught as a society, but it's not truth. The feminine energy is power. This is where we're conscious. This is where we're receptive. And then in that conscious space, we take aligned action when we're inspired, and it's going to be much more beneficial and efficient action than if there's no honor and reverence, no consciousness, and we're just spinning on a hamster wheel hoping it works out. This is why the planet's in the state it's in. We all have to come back individually and collectively. We have to shift this focal point and honor the divine masculine and feminine again. And we have to come to a place where we start to have reverence for space of stillness and being. And we honor that in ourselves each day and see how powerfully it changes and transforms our world. So I encourage you guys to really practice that. Okay, so back to reading. When you are surrounded by pleasing things, you can easily perpetuate your positive attitude or good mood simply by observing your good feeling surroundings. So it's easy to be happy when everything's working out. It is easier to have a high-flying, happy moment in a physical body that feels good. But the necessity for having pleasing surroundings or conditions in order to feel good is an unsustainable situation. It does feel good to observe something pleasing, but it is not a good idea to need something pleasing to observe in order to feel good. Now, I'm going to read that again because this is where I think a lot of people lose their alignment. So, it does feel good to observe something pleasing. It feels good when everybody's kind to us. It feels good when people are paying us like they promised they would. It feels good when everything is just flowing. That feels really good. But it's not a good idea to need something pleasing to need something pleasing to observe in order to feel good. So if I'm in a world and people are doing things that I don't agree with and I can't still feel good, I'm like, oh, they should do this, and I'm angry. I am losing my alignment. So, yes, it feels really good when everyone's cooperating with us, but if they're not, I still want to maintain my alignment by focusing on the feeling of what it feels like when everything works out, what it feels like when people are kind, when they say they're sorry, when they do the right thing. Focus on that feeling instead of focus on the feeling of what they're showing you, which is lack or anger or hostility or whatever's being mirrored. We want to observe it, but not let ourselves lose our alignment because of what we're observing. Um, if your happiness is dependent on seeing only pleasing situations, then you eventually become one of the many who are futilely attempting to control the conditions that surround them. So, this is when we start to control life. We want to control the ocean. We don't like the way it flows, so we're trying to stop it and move it around. That's not a very efficient way to live. You see humans that are doing this, they're tense, they want to control everyone around them because they're actually out of control. They are anytime, this is a simple thing to tune into in yourself and in others, is anytime you see a human trying to control and make people do stuff and they're grabbing on, it is a sign that they need help to get back into their alignment because they are out of control. So if that's happening in your movie, someone around you is doing that, you want to get away from them, send them love. If they're open and receptive, guide them. But if not, get away from them and come back to that place where you trust your source has a perfect solution for you. If you're one of those controllers, be awake right now and really receive this message and realize being a controller is never going to save you and it's never going to make you feel better. It's actually you are needing to get back in your alignment. That's all it is. And you'll never get back in your alignment by controlling the world. You need to get back and relax and let go and allow life to flow again. And that's going to feel really good. Let's see. So the ones that are attempting to control the conditions that surround them, they never succeed and they do not sustain long-term happiness. In fact, they are rarely truly happy. So people that you see that are very controlling, observe them. How often are they really happy? Are they really moving with the flow? Or are they just, trying to create tension in that flow because they think they need to make it go a certain way? Really observe that. Many people are approaching life exactly backward. Control conditions so that they can observe pleasing things so that they can feel good. This daily meditation process will help you to get into the rhythm and the flow of the laws that govern the vibrational universe in which you live. Care about how you feel so that you care about your thoughts. So that I can't read today. Care about how you feel so that you can guide your thoughts to align with the vibrational frequencies of well-being. So when you're caring about what you feel and you're focused on feeling good, feeling abundant, feeling loved, feeling supported, feeling seen, you are actually helping and assisting aligning yourself with the vibrational frequencies that are actually going to bring you what you want. You want to do this. Trust me. Every one of you want to do this. And like I said, if you have to watch this video 10 times to really get it, Watch it over and over and over until you really get it, because it's worth it. It will change your movie. It will change everything in your life when you really grasp this. Um, let's see. Feel good for the sake of feeling good, and everything else will take care of itself. This process will teach you, since words actually do not teach. And that's what I was just saying. That's funny. So I can say it in words, but the process is going to teach you. You experiencing the shift is going to teach you that the actual process of creating is really about no longer doing the things that are preventing your well being. And as you release those resistant thoughts and habits of thoughts, beliefs one by one, your vibration will rise until it matches the frequency of perfect physical well being. And that is the truth. So, as we're holding and vibing those thoughts out of what we love, we're going to be the vibrational match for our money, loving relationships. If we're in fear and we're not feeling like we're enough, we're going to start pinching the hose. We're going to start having tension with our partner. We're going to have tension with our coworkers. We're going to just have tension everywhere when we're doing that. So if we get back into that feeling of harmony and bliss and, cooperation, what does that feel like? We actually are getting back in that alignment vibrationally. And now we start to attract those people in. Certain people might leave our movie that don't want to participate in that. Don't try to grab on and control that. If you're really wanting harmony and peace and love and support and people who see you, and then some of those people who refuse to be that start to try to leave, and you're grabbing onto them and trying to control them to stay, do you kind of see where I'm coming from? We got to let go of controlling and realize all that we need to do is stay in that maintaining of that feeling of being one with our creation, knowing we're worthy, because if you haven't done your ego clearing, you will not let yourself receive. And I see this with people all the time. I can want stuff and I could love stuff and it could come towards me, but then if it comes towards me and I don't feel worthy, I will push it away. I won't receive the money. Oh no, you keep it. That's fine. And then later I'm like, oh, I don't have enough money. Or the relationship, oh, I'd love to take you out. No, I'm not open to it. I can't date anyone. This no, 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 this energy is you controlling it. That's you trying to control life instead of let it flow in. If it feels good, let it flow in and say yes, say thank you. All we need to do is maintain a vibration of gratitude to continually draw in what we desire and love. Stay in that feeling of goodness, happiness, joy, and keep in a space of gratitude. Know that you are worthy. And if you don't know that right now, that's where I'm saying, as a healer, contact me and let's do some sessions together, some soul coaching. Contact me to do some auric clearing work, because it's going to be the thing that changes your life. You could continue to be on the path for 20 more years where you struggle and where you suffer and you feel that you're not enough, or you could change that today. And that's really, I am all about efficiency. So I'm like, let's do this. Let's do it today and get you in the right vibrational alignment. That's going to make all the difference in what you create from this moment on. So I'm going to pause. Is there any other questions or anything coming in, Amnon?
No, but Sandy said that you did answer her question.
Awesome. I'm glad, Sandy. Thank you for asking. Um, one thing I'm going to say real quick, because we're getting close to the end of the show, is I do have some things coming up, and I'll post this calendar probably in the next few days. If you guys go to my TanyaAngel555.com site, you can go on there, and then I'm going to just post this calendar on there so that you guys know workshops that are coming up. And if you're interested, you can contact me. Any of the workshops I offer, if you can't make it to the scheduled date, just contact me, because I could, if you have a few friends that want to do the workshop, we could do that together. We can do it in person or through Skype. And if you don't want to do the workshop or you can't make that date, but you would still like to do the mentorship, I can do that one-on-one through Skype or through phone call as a mentorship. What am I trying to say? As a one-on-one mentorship is what I'm trying to say. So some of the stuff coming up is I have the Sending Through the Chakras mentorship that's going to start April 8th. That's a Friday from 5 to 8 p.m. Pacific. And this is a 7-week class for $555, or you can do drop-ins for $111. And again, you could do that one-on-one with me or as a group. We meet every other Friday. The next things coming up is I'm going to be starting another 3-month Essence of Yoga and Meditation teacher training. That's going to be coming up on April 10th. And then I have another one starting in May. So if you want to do that with a group or one-on-one, it's 3 months meeting once a week for several hours at a time. And it's $2,000 with a certificate of completion at the end for your teacher training so that you could actually teach yoga and meditation. But if you don't even want to teach it and you just want to deepen your practice, you want to learn these tools that I'm talking about with meditation, tools that will help heal your body, you could do this just for yourself, or you could do it and actually take it on and share it with others. So if you're interested in that, let me know. And then I also have the Empowering the Empath mentorship starting up on April 16th, a Saturday. And even if you've done this before, but you feel like you want to still continue with mentorship, continue with me because we're not the same as we were yesterday. So every time I teach a workshop, a mentorship, it's going to be new. We're always evolving. So you're going to get new stuff, new connections with people. So if you're wanting more connection, soul connection with other like minded beings, consider a mentorship with me. So, anyway, I've got that all set up. And then I think in May, yes, in May, my beloved and I are going to be doing a twin flame union workshop. I'm trying to remember what day it's on. Okay, it's on the 14th of May from 2 to 5 p.m. And it's actually local here at New Renaissance Books. So if any of you guys want to join that, you can go to newrenbooks.com and register. And that will be on May 14th from 2 to 5. So anyway, there's a few things. And I actually invited my beloved Will in because he's going to talk about a little of what he wanted to share in regards to what he just was going through recently with getting into the vibe and getting into the feeling of what he wants rather than what he doesn't. And I'm going to let him speak for a few minutes before we sign off.
All right.
So, hey, baby.
I love you.
Mwah.
So as always, she does speak truth, and it is something that is validated daily in my life. And so I wanted to share with you some of the things that I've learned that pertain to what she's talking about here in terms of getting into the feeling. And so basically the biggest thing that I've learned over, let's say, the past 6 months, for example, and just learning from my beloved, is how we're all perfect beings, and we are all divine beings, and we're all creators and creatresses and kings and queens of our own chessboard of life. And so any time that we're not perceiving ourselves as perfect, that's our ego and our programs of fear that say that we're not good enough, and that where we judge ourselves and we're critical to ourselves, because most people are their own harshest critic, which is actually never beneficial. Even if you think it might be beneficial to be your own best critic, it's not. And so
unless you enjoy suffering,
yeah,
then go on ahead.
Yeah. And so for me, the biggest thing that I've learned from my auric clearings that she's assisted me with is the fact that we are all completely divine beings. We're all worthy. And so when we're critical ourselves or judging ourselves, and we're not remembering that, then that's when we need to realign ourselves to our higher self, our soul, and our highest knowing that we're perfect. And so
if you were perfect, what would you feel? What would you focus on, right?
Yeah.
Like if you actually believed you were deserving.
Yeah, then so just in my recent experience, I'll just get a little more personal here.
Nice.
Yes. There would be times where I would be feeling insecure, and I would, in the past, I would be very disciplined with my mind in terms of, in terms of what I was thinking about and stuff like that. But then if my ego got triggered and I was feeling insecure for some reason, then it would take me off my mental discipline. I wasn't actually feeling inside like I was worthy or divine. And so just remembering that, and remembering the feeling that we are divine, we are worthy, we're always worthwhile, and there's no reason to ever be insecure, for example. That's something that I have been able to overcome in recent times is just getting out of the feeling of self-judgment and just knowing that we're all great divine beings. So
Yes. And how do you feel now?
I feel really, really, really good.
And how was it feeling? Like, be honest with them, because I'm sure everyone can relate. But like, how was it feeling when your ego was kind of telling you weren't? Like, and what was that creating?
Well, yeah, it was creating just anxiety. It was creating distrust, and ultimately it was creating disharmony in our relationship. And so yeah, it never feels good to be in that state of self-judgment or anything like that. And so yeah, it's the feeling is getting back into the alignment of the feeling is what it's all about.
And then you just want to make out all the time. And truly, because I've been where Will's been, I think all of us can relate to what he's saying. There's times where, in my journey, I've been insecure by something triggered me, or I'm not trusting that I'm capable or worthy of something. So we've all played in that space, I'm sure, at some point. But it's not a fun space to be in, but it's not something that we need to stay in. We could just let it touch us and go, okay, what is it I need to clear and release here? So we can get back into that natural state, which is actually feeling blissful and harmonious and compassionate and gentle and peaceful. Like we feel at ease, and that creates harmony within self. And then there's harmony within the relationship. If there's a partnership or a family, or when he's even at work, he's going to feel better than if he's really pinching himself off from source. Then no matter what people around will say, he can't really relax, And I've been there before. I'm sure some of you guys have been there before. So I'm grateful for you being vulnerable and sharing transparently, baby. That's really important. So
thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, and just remember, any feeling that is putting you off is ultimately the ego, and just remembering our own divinity and the fact that we're all creator beings and we're all worthy. Just that can knock the ego off its pedestal and get you back into alignment. So just remembering.
Yes. And get back in that feeling of what you love and know that you deserve it. Because it's all about the feeling. Like, truly, Amnon was singing that Flashdance song, "What a Feeling," in the beginning. Is that Flashdance? I think so. But that is seriously so important. So just remember this week, if you guys just want to practice for this week, practice vibing the feeling. No matter what's happening in your movie, every day, focus on the feeling of where you want to be. Be there now vibrationally. So you're wanting to be in Hawaii, you got your eyes closed and you feel the sand, and you feel how the breeze feels, and you smell like the coconut, and you feel the feeling and the senses of the ocean moving in and out, the feeling of the sun on your skin, and just the bliss of being in a place you want to be, and like how good that feels. And who are you there with? Feel that. Feel how loving they're being to you, how honoring, how people are paying you money to be there. Whatever you want to focus on, you want to get into the feeling of it, and you're going to actually manifest it. But be patient. Practice that daily. Keep vibing it out, and then watch as those synchronistic things start to come into your life, and say yes to them. Know that you're worthy and you're deserving, and go towards what you came here to create. And you will magically manifest everything you want. Sound good, everybody? All right. Well, thank you, baby. So we will sign off. It's exactly 6, Amnon. I made it. So
wow.
Thank you guys. I know. I told you. I was like, my goal is we're going to get done at 6. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. And like I said, if you want to sign up for mentorship or anything, contact me. Go to the TanyaAngel555.com or email me at tanyaangel@gmail.com. And I look forward to hearing back feedback as you guys practice and play with this. Let me know what you manifest. Mwah! Namaste.
Namaste.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. Our weekly lineup of call-in programs includes Computers 2K Now with Amnon Nissan, My Life, My Will with Gisela DiCarlo, The Tawnya Love Show, Health Then with Debbie Bruck, Breaking Free with Marilyn Shannon, Triangle Be Well with Howard Jacobson, Lunch and Learn with Rabbi Yisrael Cutler, Lessons of Vietnam with NCVVI members, Parent Dome with Ryan Miller, Current Affairs with Amnon Nissan. And if you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section on nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by Atomos.com, makers of quality video recorders and converters, CarolinaApparel.com, and DeltaForce.net.